We got too many folk who are just mediocre and they settle for it. When you have the courage to examine yourself, you have the courage to find out who you are, and there's nobody else in the world. Used to be a brother who plays organ for my church. We knew him as Sylvester. He knew who the work for the genius that he is. His name is Sly Stone. Y'all heard Sly Stone. No, I don't want to move too quick. We're going to have to buy some CDs tonight. Pass out from Sly Stone and John Coltrane and Sarah Vaughan and George Clinton. But Sly used to sing a song called Everybody is a Star. Another song called Everyday People. When he said everybody was a star, he didn't mean that everybody was on television. Everybody did glitz and blips and bells and whistles. He meant that each and every one of you have a voice inside of you that's trying to get out. And as you critically examine yourself, do your work. Be highly disciplined. Find out who you are, which is to say, find your voice. And of course, the Negro National Anthem is what? Lift every voice. Part of the challenge for young brothers and sisters of all colors, got too many echoes. No generation, not enough voices. You know the difference between an echo and a voice? Echoes are imitation. A voice, creation. That's what this academy is about. When you walk out of here, you're not just going to be a copy. You're going to be an original. Just distinctively you. Just like your fingerprint. Get your driver's license if you so choose to get one. My hunch is most of you need. You're going to ask for your fingerprint. And fingerprint is unique, distinctive, irreducible, and irrefutable. It's just yours in a singular way. That's true for your voice. Like Sarah Vaughan, like Philip Roth. Distinctive, singular voices. But if you don't wrestle with who you are, shatter mediocrity, you're an echo. And what the echoes do? Just go around fitting in to the mainstream. And education is about making sure in you finding your voice, being original and being a creation, not an imitation, that you engage in this shift of attention. And keep in mind, I'm 56 years old. I'm still involved in the perennial process of education. What the Greeks call paideia, P-A-I-D-E-I-A. Paideia. Because you need to shift attention. And what does the shift move? It moves from the superficial to the substantial. You don't want to become well-adjusted to superficiality. You want substance. It's a shift from the frivolous to the serious. It's a shift from the bling-bling to wrestling with some kind of question of what it means to be human. And that's difficult, not just for young people. That's difficult for everybody, especially in American society. But God Almighty, America for so long has been about just Benjamins and bling-bling. It's hard to imagine what does it mean to be human. Michael Jackson, what does it mean to be human? This is it. Y'all seen the film yet? Powerful. I love Michael Jackson. He's wrestling with what? After all of the achievement, education is not just skills, but wrestling with what it means to be human. We don't want y'all to get caught up in spiritual malnutrition, have an emptiness of soul. You want to be able to exemplify character, virtue, not perfection. All of us crack vessels. push back that spiritual malnutrition. You all might have some friends wrestling with spiritual malnutrition, emptiness of soul, concern with blame. Y'all know some folk like that. And in fact, we struggle with it inside of us. And there's a connection between spiritual malnutrition and moral constipation. You know what it is to be morally constipated? When you know what's right, but you just can't get it out. Stuck. You know what's good, you're just stuck. Y'all might know a lot of old folk like that. You know some politicians like that. You know some business folk like that. You know some preachers, some rabbis, some priests. All of us are challenged by spiritual malnutrition and moral constipation. Thank God the Academy says, as part of one's education, sharpening one's mind, you also want a sweetness of soul, that ethical obligation, part of the mission. So you get a little ethical diarrhea from let the right come. You're not ashamed of doing what's right. Sometimes in your peer group, you know what's right on Friday night, and what do? You just keep it stuck and do something else. You know what's good. And I can speak as a Christian then, all right? I know it's a public space, and I love my atheistic and agnostic brothers and sisters like this have a disagreement. The holy, the right, the good, and the holy for me. And anybody who's in quest for the holy is full of holes. I'm full of holes. But I quest for the holy, which is love, the love that our dear brother Mayor talked about. Loving one's crooked neighbor with one's crooked heart. Keeping track of the precious children. Being inspired by your quest for excellence, refusing mediocrity. That's what this academy is about. That's why I am so inspired to be here. And it has everything to do, not just with your individual lives. It has to do with the people who loved you. Because in the end, no matter how hard you work, how much you sacrifice, you still are who you are in part because somebody loved you. Your mother, your father, your uncle, your aunt, your friends, your teachers, your administrators, your mayor, any source that's coming at you, the force for good in your life. And you want to make them proud. I made the change in my life in part when I was very young because of my mother's tears. I was getting in trouble. I was fighting every day. I didn't miss a day, Monday through Friday. Now I had a Robin Hood mentality, so I was actually just beating up the bullies. I was policing the bullies. I was still wrong because I didn't need to police them in such a coercive manner. But people didn't have anything. Sister Linda showed up, didn't have any food. Starvell had extra food, didn't get the lunch pail. There was a redistribution project. So a little run, Cornel. I was wrong, but I needed transformation. It was my mother's tears that did it. How many of y'all love your mother? Raise your hand. Give your mama a hand. How many love your father? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. That's good too. Because fathers usually don't rate as high as mothers do. I take a bullet for my mother right dead in the middle. I take a bullet for some folk in the leg. For my mother right there. So a lot of your quest for excellence is not just about you. It's about the love you already have inside of you. That's connected to those who have loved you, to put a smile on her face, given the fact that sometimes she has a tough time. Is that right? Worst things I've ever seen in my life. See my mother go through